Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 147 of the Talk is Cheap show. It's my honor and pleasure to be able to welcome you on today. Joining me on the sofa today, what can I say about this man that hasn't been said already, other than as he is my good friend, co-host, show analyst, former professional footballer, social media icon, Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying today, bro?
What's happening, bro? Big week, North London Derby week.
It's a massive week.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, first of a few massive weeks coming up.
Yeah.
You could argue they're all massive weeks, but you're starting to feel now that the intensity is picking up now, isn't it? Ever so slightly.
That pressure of being at the top.
Yeah, man. But before we crack on to the obvious things, news and notes, I guess we should mention, it's only right that we should mention the news that we got last week. It was shortly after we recorded last week's show, the unfortunate passing of Gianluca Vialli, Italian and Chelsea legend. Curtis, your thoughts on Gianluca Vialli?
I mean, first of all, obviously really sad news, and I know he's been unwell for a while. I think growing up for me, Italian football was like the go-to league outside of the Premier League.
Golato!
Sunday morning, James Richardson, Channel 4, it was mad. And Vialli was a top striker. Obviously, as a young striker, I always, looked at strikers in that league. And he, obviously, Juventus and then Chelsea, did well in the Premier League as a player and as a manager. So, very sad news. And you heard all the tributes from the players, and everyone had, nothing but good things to say about him. So,
100%,
obviously,
100%.
very, very sad.
And of course, he was only 58. Which is even more sad. And you hinted at it there with Vialli. You could just, from the tributes that were being paid, the strength of affection that was being showed, you know that this was a special person. And he's one of those players, isn't he, that no matter what club you support, you respect certain
He's
people.
A character,
yeah, he's one of those players. So, yeah, man, very sad news. And we'd just like to say on behalf of everybody at AFTV that we send our condolences to his family, friends, teammates, everybody associated with Gianluca Vialli. Very sad. Okay, then moving on to our next item, one of our regular items, which is to review Arsenal's last game since our last show. The last game was the third round of the FA Cup, which is always a big occasion. Arsenal, who were the most successful FA Cup team in history, they were away to Oxford, a cold Monday night. So could Arsenal go on a cold Monday night in Oxford and do the business? Well, they did eventually. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the game because it wasn't a great game, especially the first half was pretty mediocre, to be honest. But in the second half, Arsenal stepped it up. They ran out comfortable 3-0 winners. Goals from Mohamed El Neni, a.k.a. El Messi, on 63 minutes. 2 goals from Eddie, 70 and 76 minutes. And 2 very good assists from Fabio Vieira, who people were trying to tell me last week that he wasn't physical enough. But hey, anyway, 3-0. Curtis, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, listen, it's just a case of getting the job done. Listen, the reason that game was on TV on a Monday night, because they're hoping for an upset. With it being away from home, bobbly pitch, I mean, they've got no stand behind one of the goals. This man's standing on a van watching the game. Inflation's real, man. I don't blame him. Don't buy a ticket, stand on top of the van. But
that was a bit retro. That took me back.
I like that. I think the cup does that. It brings it back to the old school, small grounds. And listen, like you said, first half I thought we were poor. We didn't really move the ball well. Didn't create enough. Second half I thought we showed our quality. Yeah. Vieira's cross for El Neni was brilliant. Put it straight on his head. Good header from El Neni.
It was so good, in fact, that there were 2 of them queuing up
for it. Yeah, they couldn't wait for that. And then Eddie, 2 good goals. And I like the little chip that he did as well. Great finish. And listen, as a striker, you just want to keep the show rolling. Goals, confidence. Keep it going. And
so have you got a ticket for that Eddie train yet?
No, I'm not on the Eddie train yet. But listen, Eddie,
But every week that goes by, you're a little bit more.
You have to be convinced. I like to see things happen over longer periods of time. But listen, I had question marks over him, and at the moment he's doing what he can. He's scoring goals. He's come in and done well. Obviously, we got bigger tests to come over the next few weeks. But listen, overall, I thought we did well. good to see Smith Rowe come back.
Yeah.
Would have liked to have seen him get more game time, but maybe they had a plan that you just get 15. I was a little
surprised he didn't get more game time.
Marquinhos, I thought, could have played. To be honest, when I saw the starting lineup, I thought, that's our first team front three. I thought maybe you could have took Saka out and played Marquinhos, but maybe his thought process was kind of get the game wrapped up and then take them off. So listen, FA. I mean, listen,
we've had certain things to say. I mean, it was interesting that last week we said a couple of things and man was shooting us down in the comments. And I had to say to one guy, I'm like, bro, this is a club. It's not a cult.
Yeah.
We said on the show that the manager's doing a great job so far, but there are areas that we feel, I mean, we do have an opinion, that we could improve upon. That's not to say that we're going after the manager. Those are just honest thoughts and opinions that we express on the show that, we invite you guys to see if you agree with us or not. But it's heartfelt, it's honest, it's what we feel. And, I'm going to say, I would have liked to have seen Smith Rowe get a few more minutes.
The thing with that, you just don't know the science behind it. Maybe the physio has said he's at 15, 20 minutes, nothing more than that. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's true.
With Marquinhos, I felt like, because I'm assuming he's fully fit. And since those Europa League games, he hasn't really played that much, has he? But listen, we won the game. We got the job done, and obviously got stitched up a little bit with the FA Cup draw for the next round, Man City away.
Yeah, nice easy one. Yeah.
Nice easy one, go to Man City.
But yeah, the positives, the 2 goals from Eddie, that's 17 goals now in 24 starts. So, say what you want about Eddie, people, but he's shown that when he starts, he does get goals. Yeah. People will argue, it's Oxford, it's not whatever, we'll see. But, 2 quality assists for Fabio Vieira. And like you said, good to see Emil Smith Rowe back. Those were the positives. Now, the negatives, and we don't want to dwell on negatives too much, but there was a certain amount of conjecture after the game regarding Sambi Lokonga's performance.
Your boy, man, that's your boy.
Now, listen, I like to back the young players. I'm an advocate for that. I don't like to, I'm not one of those guys that you have a couple bad games, you're going to get on someone's case. Yeah. And I was the same with Eddie. When people were going after Eddie, I said, listen, give him a chance. And you're seeing now that Eddie is doing a lot better. Sambi, I've got to be honest, it wasn't a great game from him. He did some good things, but overall, he didn't impress. I think that's fair to say. So a lot of the talk was, the fallout for the game was, is he done at Arsenal? Should he go out on loan? A bit like what Nuno Tavares, what happened with him. Curtis, very briefly, because we've got other things to talk about. I
mean, look, Sambi for me, apparently when we signed him, he was the new Yaya Toure. Vincent Kompany said he was the new Yaya Toure. At the moment, he's closer to the new Yaya Sanogo than Yaya Toure. Vincent Kompany, mate, you've done a number on us.
Sense of humor,
he's done an absolute number on us. But no, listen. Vincent, we want answers. But
I'll tell you what, if Vincent Kompany ever, when he gives up his managerial career, he'd make a great agent.
Yeah, he would.
Selling players. No, but seriously.
In all seriousness, listen, Sambi, he's been at the club for 18 months. I haven't seen enough from him. I'm not saying he's finished at Arsenal, because stranger things have happened. A lot of fans would have said Jack has been done at Arsenal and now he's playing a pivotal role. He's still got an opportunity to turn it around while he's there. But for me at the moment, I just don't see enough about him. I don't know what he's particularly good at. Doesn't get on the ball enough. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. Now, for me, whether you move him out on loan and he gets an opportunity to try and rejuvenate himself, or do you sell him on a permanent? I think some players, the difficulty you have when players come to clubs like Arsenal, he's been used to starting every week at Anderlecht. He was in the Belgium squad. Confidence is high. You know you're playing. You come to a big club like Arsenal, all of a sudden you're sitting on the bench. And how do you deal with that? You saw in the documentary he was complaining about not starting. He obviously is not used to that.
I didn't have a problem with that, by the way.
No, I don't have a problem. Every player should want to start.
You want to back yourself.
I accept that. I just think you're at a massive club. You've got a great opportunity. When he plays, does he grab enough of them games by the scruff of the neck? He's fallen out of the Belgium squad as well. He's having a difficult time at the moment. So listen, he still has an opportunity to turn it around. If you reach this point at the end of the season and it hasn't improved, for me, you've got to either loan him out or sell him. We haven't got time to wait.
I think that's looking rather apparent now, because it's also apparent to me that the manager doesn't really rate him, does he? I mean, it was so predictable that he was going to be the first one to get hooked on Monday, and so it proved. It's not quite worked out. Whether it will work out in the long run, I'm not even so sure about that. But it's a shame, man, because I really wanted the guy to do well, and I do believe there is a talent there, but we'll see. But anyway, that was that. Through to the next round, like you said, we've got Man City in the next round. I'd like us to have a really good cup run. I think it's possible, and I hope we go on from there and go all the way. I'm old school. I love the FA Cup.
You love the FA Cup, yeah.
So yeah, but that was that. Moving on to this week. Well, what can I say? The North London Derby is here again. The 193rd North London Derby. And of those, I just a quick stat here, because I like my stats. 192 North London Derby games played so far. Arsenal with 80 wins, Spurs with 61 and 51 draws. So we're in the ascendancy there.
Yeah.
However, our recent form, especially away at Spurs, isn't that good. I think it's been 8 Premier League games that Spurs haven't lost at home to Arsenal. So, we're up against it. They won 6 and drawn 2. Yeah. In fact, the last time we actually beat Spurs at their ground, I think, do you know when that was? I think that was back in
the League Cup game.
Yeah.
Flamini.
Yeah. And do you know who was captain in the team that day?
Who was it?
A certain Mikel Arteta.
Oh, wow. That's been too long.
Yeah,
man,
so that's way long, man. And I think the year before that, we beat them in the Premier League. I think that was the Rosicky screamer, wasn't it, after a couple of minutes. As you can see, guys, we do owe him. It's been a long, long time. So it's about time we put that right.
Yeah.
So let's look at some match receipts, and then I'll ask Curtis here to speak about the game in a bit more depth. But at the moment, Spurs are currently 5th in the Premier League, 18 games, 33 points, 10 wins, 3 draws, 5 losses. Quite surprising, really. Arsenal currently top, 17 games, 44 points, 14 wins, 2 draws, Southampton, Newcastle. Just the 1 defeat to Man United so far. But corresponding fixtures, it's a case of repeat and rinse, isn't it? I mean, we beat them at our place, they tend to beat us at their place. And the last 2 games, 12th of May, Spurs beat us 3-0. Well, the 1st of October, we beat them 3-1. So there you go. That's the backdrop to the game, Curtis.
Yeah.
Tell us what your overall thoughts. I'll ask you a few more specific questions.
I mean, first of all, it's a massive game, because that narrative you just spoke about, we've got to change that. Can't keep going there and getting beaten. We seem to batter them at home, they batter us away. You look at them at home this season, they haven't been great. Villa beat them in their last game. Certain Unai Emery went there and rolled them over. I know they beat Palace away from home, but I don't want to get drawn into a false sense, but I just have this feeling that they're a little bit more vulnerable than they've been in previous seasons. And, we're top of the league, confidence is high. I feel like we need to try and get them this time. Listen, anytime you go there, it's a tough game. Everyone's saying, we got to go there and batter. It's always a tough game. I would say for Arsenal, this is one of our 3 most difficult games. I think Man City, Liverpool and Tottenham away, they're the 3 away grounds I think we struggle at the most to pick up wins. But we've got to play on the fact that we're top. I think we're 11 points clear of them at the moment.
Yeah, we are. There's some significant breathing space.
There's big breathing space. And
But what do you make of this? I wanted to ask you this question. So there's a certain narrative out there that suggests that if we're going to win the title, which, let's face it, is a possibility, a realistic possibility, although it's not, there's a long way to go, we have to be beating teams like Tottenham away. Do you think that we need to go there and win? Would you take a point? I don't wish to sound negative, but
I get you.
I'm talking to people during the week and they're saying, we've got to go there and win. We have to win. Do we?
It's not a must-win. As a fan, because of what that game means, it's a must-win for us. You've got to go there and beat them. But if you look at the context, I think if you play any other team in the top 6 or top 4 and you take 4 points off them, then you tick that box and say job done. We beat them at home, so we've already took 3 points off them. If you go away and get a point and you've took 4 points, I think that's good. That, you know, they don't get beaten that much at home against the big teams. But, you know, as a fan, you're going to say, I'm not taking a point. I want us to beat them. So I think they need to win more than we do. I think a point is a better result for us than them, because there's so much of a gap between us and them. They're outside of the top 4. Man United and Liverpool are gathering a bit of momentum. They might, you know, pull away from Tottenham. So I think a point for Arsenal would be a good result. But as a fan, obviously, you know, we're gunning for the 3 points, aren't we? You know, so. Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to ask you as well, this game is a very much a pressurised game. I mean, we had a show for the corresponding fixture when we played Tottenham last year, and I think we entitled the show something like the biggest North London derby in years and stuff like that. And we got turned over quite comprehensively. And one of the things in the fallout of the game was that people said we couldn't handle the pressure. Now, the pressure is not quite the same. This last time we were going for a top 4 place and it was near the end of the season. On this occasion, we're in a nice position in the league, but there is a pressure that, you know, we're going to one of our rivals away from home. Do you think, from what you've seen of the team so far, that they're capable of handling the pressure in a
at the moment,
high intensity, high profile game like this?
Yeah, I think at the moment we've shown we can handle the pressure. I think we've grown from last season. I think there's a lot more maturity in the team at the moment. The fact we've got, you know, this points gap, they should be thriving on the position they're in. I think last year we said biggest North London derby because it looked as if whoever was going to win would get 4th, which is the way it played out, unfortunately for us. But they're going to have to show that they're capable of winning games like this. This is what winning the title is about. Can you go to your rivals and beat them at their place? You know, we beat Chelsea earlier in the season. We've had a pretty good record there the last few years. This is another game that we need to go and show if we're capable of winning it, then you can win these games. I think we should be looking at this game as a winnable game if we turn up and play well. If we don't play well, we know that they've got, you know, the quality to punish us. So
you talked there about quality, and yes, they do have quality. And I suppose primarily that quality would be Harry Kane, who, let's be honest, it almost seems certain that he scores against us, isn't he?
It's a joke, isn't it? Every game.
Every game, it seems so. Can we stop him?
We can stop him. Again, even with Kane, I mean, he has scored goals this season.
How do we stop him?
I think if you look at a lot of his goals against us, he scores penalties. We end up fouling someone and giving away a stupid penalty, and you know.
Yeah, Rob Holding did that last time.
We got sent off last year, didn't it? Yeah. And this is what gives me a bit more confidence this year. If you look at it, apart from Gabriel Jesus, we're at full strength really. Reece Nelson, but he doesn't start for us. I remember last year, Holding was starting. You know, I think Cedric played at right back.
So,
we were under strength, so we're going there. Apart from Jesus,
I think it was Cedric that gave away the penalty.
Cedric gave away the penalty.
Holding was the one that
Holding got sent off. So I'm looking at them, and if I'm thinking, how can we hurt them? I think Hugo Lloris doesn't look the same goalkeeper anymore. Made a mistake the other week. Still on a downer, probably from the World Cup. I think defensively they can be got at. I rate Romero. The others, you know, if Emerson Royale's at right back, Chicken Royale, he got sent off in the home game against Martinelli. So Martinelli's got to, you know, go for him. And at left wing back, I think they play Perisic, who's a natural winger, or Sessegnon. Saka should be. I think they can be got at, is what I'm saying. I think they can be got at. One thing for them, what's interesting, you know, they've had quite a few players injured, and all of a sudden, they're all coming back fit for this game. Kulusevski and Bentancur apparently back.
Wow,
so
it's definitely going to be a difficult game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because a couple of weeks ago they looked all over the place, didn't they?
Yeah.
And you know, the manager was making noises like, you know, he wasn't 100% going to be there. You know what I mean? He was questioning himself and the team. And then lo and behold, they go to Palace and slap Palace 4-0, which I wasn't expecting. I mean, by all accounts, they weren't that good in the first half, but they had a very good second half.
Yeah.
And they've since also beaten Portsmouth in the FA Cup, which you would expect them to do. But they are coming off two good wins, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So I think that their confidence level would have risen somewhat, which is probably a little bit disappointing from our end. We wanted to catch them when they at a low ebb.
Yeah.
So do you think that will make a difference?
Listen, like you said, after that Villa game, they were all over the place. Lost 2-0 at home, fans were booing. Like you said, they beat Palace comfortably, which I didn't expect that result, to be honest. And
away from home, 4-0.
I almost think Tottenham's team is set up to play away from home because they play 5 at the back, they hit you on the break, they've got Son and the pace. Where I think at home, their fans expect them to go for the opposition. And when they're playing that sitting back style and counter-attack, I think that's where the frustration. So that's why I do think we can get at them, especially with our 2 wide players getting at their fullbacks or wingbacks. So, but yeah, I think their confidence, if we'd have played them 2 weeks ago after Villa beat them, they were on the floor at that point. Yeah. They have kind of lifted their confidence a little bit, and they will take confidence from our record going there. But if I'm Arteta, what I'm trying to say to these players is, listen, all right, we might not have beaten them at their ground for a long time, but a lot of you weren't involved in these games. Saka hasn't played the last 8 games against Tottenham. He's played maybe the last 2 or 3 games, only been around for a while. So you don't have to carry this record on your back. You go there with that confidence. We're top of the league and we're here to beat them and show them what we're about. So I think we've got to impose ourselves on them a little bit.
Interesting. I mean, you spoke there and I was going to ask you, but we segued nicely into it, into the approaches of the 2 teams. But just to continue on that theme, it's obvious to me that Spurs have this style where in the first half they don't really do that much. It's almost like they're downloading data from the team that they're playing against, and then they try and kick into gear in the second half. Whereas with Arsenal, what we've seen is that we've often in this season been aggressive, gone on the front foot straight away. Now, for me, I think we've got to maintain that because I don't see Tottenham changing their style for this one game. I hear what you're saying about the crowd will expect a certain level of intensity from Tottenham being at home and all the rest of it being a North London derby. But I honestly do feel that Spurs will play their game. So then what we have to do is be aggressive and go on the front foot. And when I say that, I don't mean reckless aggression. I don't mean, going out there and just, being expansive to the point where, you're not defensively responsible. But I do feel that if we're going to win this game, which hopefully that that is what our mindset is going to be, not to go there and not lose. We want to go there and win. Being attack is the best form of defence. I think we have to start fast. Yeah,
I think, attack, but obviously keep that bit of caution.
We have to be defensively responsible.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying, because I think their fans seem to get frustrated in that state. It's almost like Arsenal a few years ago. We was like, come on. But now we're a lot more patient and we're scoring a lot more goals. I think if we can score the first goal, the mood in that stadium will change quickly.
I think so.
Because their home record has not been great this season. I just think, you're right. I think because I think when you score against Tottenham, you force them to come on to you. I think when they come on to you, their defence is not great. You can go and pick them off then. So, if we were to score first, I think would be a massive, massive boost for us.
And although I spoke about their 2 recent wins over Palace and Portsmouth, if you speak to some of their fan base, I mean, I know quite a few of their fans, they're not that confident about this game.
No.
Certainly not as confident as they have been in previous years, which is not to say that, we're just going to go there and roll them over. But, you speak to their fans who are season ticket holders who watch them week in, week out.
Yeah.
They're saying that, for the first time in a number of years, I can actually see Arsenal coming here and getting a result.
Because I think if you look at their situation, I think there's a lot of instability there at the moment. Kane's being linked with moves in the summer. Conte's contract's running out. 1 week he loves it, the next week he's talking about leaving. Son has not been great this season for his usual level. Laurie, a lot of people saying he's past his best. I think there's a lot of instability there, and you can play on that when you go there, and if you can get on top, the fans might turn a little bit. So, listen, it is a game where form does go out the window to a certain extent because they're going to be so fired up for it. Kane, as you said, always seems to score, but I think who scores first, who starts the game quick. I always think with games like this, you need to not make silly mistakes. If you look in the past games, Emerson got sent off against Arsenal. The year before, Holding got sent off. Cedric gave away a penalty.
It's a very intense game.
Mustafi giving away a penalty at Wembley when we played them at Wembley, and Aubameyang's penalty in the last minute. So you've almost got to show that maturity, and I do think this Arsenal team is maturing. You look at Gabriel since the World Cup. You know, I think he's playing some of his best football. He's cut the mistakes out. So it's an intriguing game, and I do think there'll be goals in it as well. Yeah. I do think there will be goals.
Yeah, I do believe so as well. Yeah, I do believe so. What kind of team would you like to see Arsenal play?
The thing with Arsenal, I think our team picks itself. You know, it really. You could have one or two debates. I mean, I think
the Zinchenko-Tierney debate is the one that people often talk about.
I think Zinchenko plays. I think it's clear that when he's fit, he's going to start. He wants a fullback that can do what he does. He drops into midfield. He's so good on the ball. Tierney probably defensively is better than Zinchenko. Zinchenko's not a natural defender, but I think what he gives us in midfield, he steps in and helps Xhaka and Partey and Odegaard. So I think Zinchenko will play. Gabriel and Saliba, Ben White, Ramsdale in goal. Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard, Eddie, Martinelli and Saka. Obviously, we're saying off camera there, Saka and Saliba are on 4 yellow cards. So if either one of them get booked, they miss the Man United game. Which I think Saka actually is the one we can least afford to come out, because if Saliba came out, you could put Ben White centre-back and play Tomiyasu right-back, which isn't that bad, I don't think. Whereas if Saka came out, I don't know if Smith Rowe would be fit enough to start next week. So hopefully they don't get booked, because we're going to need them.
The manager, I mean, there's a lot been said about Mikel Arteta. He's done a very good job so far. Some would say a great job.
Clip that, by the way, comments, calm down.
So you hear what I said there, yeah? He's done a great job so far. No, but, he has done. Listen, no matter what you think about the guy, nobody can deny that he's done a great job so far this season. There have been question marks against his demeanour, shall we say, on the touchline. Some people say it's an indication that he does suffer a little bit with the pressure and the intensity of these games. They don't get much more pressurised than this Sunday. Do you think he can cope with that and come through this well? Because let's be honest, he didn't last season.
No. I think some of last season, to give him a bit of credit, was down to the team that he had on the pitch.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got inferior players on the pitch in certain positions. Mistakes happen. Rob Holding's red card was unnecessary. Cedric's penalty was a bit soft. Listen, I think there'll be antics on the touchline
because Conte's
one of the masters of running up and down. You know what I mean? So him and Arteta could be.
Get the old Tuchel handshake.
Where are you going? So,
but yeah, I could see fireworks.
I think there will be fireworks. Conte is a feisty character. I think Arteta will want to give it back.
And Arteta, he's going to be himself.
Yeah. I think he's
going to be micromanaging from the touchline, and he's going to be cooking every ball and remonstrating with the officials if things don't go our way in certain situations. So I could see that being quite feisty. I think
with all them antics on the touchline, if your team is successful, people don't mind. They go, he's going crazy, but they've won. If you go crazy and don't win, people go, what are you doing that for? Or maybe that's not helping. Maybe they need a calmer head. So I think it all depends on
you're
the
right.
results.
And the reason why I highlighted it is because one of the talking points on the fallout of the Newcastle game was exactly that. People were, looking at what his touchline histrionics, and they were saying, listen, man, this is an indication that he doesn't handle pressure that well. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
No, listen, I think Arteta's similar to the team in that I think he's learning, and I think when you've had such a big negative situation last season, missing out on top 40, your biggest rival, is going to hurt everybody. And I think this year they've taken that in their stride. Listen, we can't have that feeling again. In fact, it's gone beyond that now, because we've gotten from can we get top 4 to can we win the whole league. So I think this next 3 weeks in particular, when you look at those fixtures, it's going to be an indication of, are we ready? Can we deal with this pressure? And can we take points off these teams? And they should be excited by it. Arsenal players should be embracing this, going, this feels a lot better than when we was in 8th, trying to nick Conference League spots. We're top of the league. Man City lost yesterday. We're looking at Man City's results and they've got Man United. If they lose that and we win, we could be 8 points clear. So I think they've got a massive opportunity. They have to embrace it, and they've got to go for Tottenham.
I couldn't agree more. And statistically, this is our best ever start to a Premier League season, and we go there in good form and in good heart. But it's a case of, can we overcome the apparent away Spurs hoodoo? I personally think we can. And that kind of segues nicely onto my final question to you, which is a result.
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's such an interesting game, this. It's like, it's hard to even predict the score at times. Because I'll be honest, part of me thinks we'll win, part of me thinks it's a draw. I don't think we'll lose. A lot of it depends on how we start the game. Do you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. Because I think our two wingers are too much for them to handle, if I'm being honest. I think
Saka and Martinelli.
I think Saka and Martinelli are lethal.
Pivotal.
And I look at their two wing backs and I think you can damage them. Martinelli has got Emerson sent off. Yeah, he's too good for him in my opinion. I think Saka will hurt their left wing back, and I just think in certain years I've looked at Tottenham and I thought, Son's on fire, and I just think they're not quite functioning as well this year. I feel like Kane is thinking about the summer, and thinking he's being linked with Man United and Real Madrid. Conte, I just think we're going to just get the better of them. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw, though. I'm going to be honest. I don't just look at it as a game that we're going to go there and just roll them. It's a difficult game. But I think we grind out a 2-1 win. I think we just get the better of them.
You know what? It's very interesting because I had very similar thoughts to that. Initially, when I was thinking about this game, I was thinking, yeah, man, this has got Desmond written all over it. Tusu. But then I started to think a bit more deeply about it, and I thought to myself exactly what you were saying. I could see Martinelli and Saka giving these guys hell, and you know what I mean, and they're going to be like the pivotal parts of our attack. And I just think right now we're a better team than Spurs.
Agree.
And yes, I acknowledge it's going to be difficult. I know it's going to be it's going to be hard fought. You know what I mean? It's going to be all those things. But I'm looking at it logically as well as with my heart. I'm looking at it logically with my head, and I'm thinking to myself, we are actually a better team than them. And we are top of the table. Like I said a minute ago, statistically, it's the best ever start. I think we're feeding off that. And I'm going for the win, man. I think we can beat them. I'm going to go with your scoreline of 2-1.
I think we can. I'll tell you what's going to be big for us is our starting 11 are probably going to have to win us that game. Smith Rowe obviously can come off the bench if his fitness levels are still there. But I think with them maybe having a couple of players back, they might have a few more options. So I think our starting 11 are probably going to have to win us that game, unless Mudryk gets signed all of a sudden. But he's still putting up Instagram posts, so it'll be down to the.
I was going to ask you about the Mudryk thing. We digress slightly. What's your thoughts on that? The length of time this is taking.
I got to be honest. I'll be totally honest. I'm bored of it. I almost think with Arsenal sometimes they drag a transfer out so long that the excitement goes out of it. If he signs for us now, I'll be like, well, we could have done with him in the first week of January. He's still putting out posts. He's gone to Turkey with Shakhtar doing warm weather training. It just
he should be with us now.
Should be. If that's the guy you want, he should be an Arsenal player already. I know negotiations, but we were speaking off camera there with Liam, Robbie, and Cecil. We've known since the 3rd of December that Jesus was out injured. They were in America with the Kroenkes having meetings, talking about transfers. They should have negotiated and got this done early, or moved on and got somebody else. So.
You're absolutely right.
I'm a little bit bored of it.
What's disappointed me is that this is a player that we appear to have earmarked as the guy we want, right? It's a number one target. And listen, it's fairly obvious that Mudryk wants to come to Arsenal, okay? And yes, I know that Shakhtar have been a bit, clever with the money and so forth, but you expect that. But come on now, I mean, I would have expected this to have got done by now. Other clubs have earmarked players who they wanted and they get the deals done.
Yeah.
We seem to deliberate. And in the end, these things could cost us because the guys should ideally be with us now.
100%.
And getting used to training and the conditions and stuff like that so that he can, when he eventually does play, he can make the impact that we want. I'm just a little bit worried that it's dragging, and then when he does come, by the time the guy gets up to speed, there could be vital points lost.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at, number one, he hasn't played a game since the end of November. That's when Shakhtar's season finished. So is he up to match speed? Might take him a few weeks to get ready for it. And, you know, you look at Liverpool lost Diaz, went and got Gakpo. We didn't even know about that. They just pulled it out, done deal. Everyone thought he was going United. João Felix, obviously, we've been speaking about that as well.
It's got to sound disappointing, man. I mean, I wanted João.
So did I. And listen, I know from a financial point of view, people will go, oh, well, no option to buy, 9 million loan. I don't care about the money because yesterday I woke up yesterday morning. Got an email here from Arsenal. Have we signed Mudryk? They go, Lunar New Year training kit. And then at 6 p.m. they go, we got an announcement. I said, maybe this is Mudryk. They go, we got new artwork on the stadium. And I'm like, listen, they don't mind us putting our hand in our pocket and spending money. That, you know, if they'd have spent 9 million on João Felix for a loan, said, listen, I know it's a lot of money, we can't sign him, but we're going for it. We want to win the league. No Arsenal fan would have complained and gone, well, it's a bit expensive. You just want the player through the door who's going to strengthen you. So,
and let's be honest as well, it's not like these guys can't afford it.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not pocket watching.
Money, man.
I'm not pocket watching. It's not something that I like to do. However, it's common knowledge that the Cronkies are the most richest owners in sports.
I think outside Newcastle ones, obviously.
Okay, right. But so in any event, I think they got the bag.
They've got the bag. They've got the bag.
Just like get the deals done, because at the end of the day, as I said on the show last week, we both said the title is there. It's not touching distance because there are 20 or 21 games left. However, it's a realistic possibility. And if signings are the thing that could get you across the line and you don't do it, you're going to look back in May at this time in January and say, you know what, we should have done it. So, yeah.
Hopefully they get some business done, man.
I think we're both in agreement in that we should really have got these deals sorted. And I'm disappointed in the João Felix not getting him. However, right, anyway, bring it right back because we've got to close the show now. Yes, so you're going 2-1. Yeah. I'm going 2-1. Massive game, North London derby. For me, it's the biggest domestic derby in Britain. I know our friends from up north. I didn't dwell on that too much earlier in the show. I know they're going to think differently, but obviously we're a little bit biased. But anyway, in any event, this is a massive, massive game. Yeah. It's the first of 3 very big games. They don't get much bigger. We've got to go there. We've got to show out. Spurs are going to come hard. Harry Kane's going to score, as he always does. But I think in the final analysis, we're going to end up winning 2-1, and we're all going to be happy come Sunday. Curtis, thank you very much, bro, for coming down and being an honest and forthright and as cerebral about football as you always are. Thanks, guys, for watching. Really appreciate your support. It's our 147th. We want to keep the love going. Keep it interactive. Let us know what you thought about the show today. Do you agree with our predictions or not? Let us know. We'll catch you next week, hopefully, off the back of an Arsenal win. We're out.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.